Hey guys, what's up? This is Stock Retail coming back to you real quick. Um, some folks were kind of joking a little bit about how yesterday's video was a little long. This one's hopefully even just like 5 minutes. Should be quick. Want to just talk through news spreading around this morning and some FUD I saw, and just to continue to highlight the ways that people try to do some mental framing against us, to try to get your brain to think about things a certain way, and the ways that they're doing it to people who are not yet in AMC to kind of keep them out. And so, why you may want to continue to communicate to friends, family, anybody you have contact with around what's really happening. So I'm going to show something from the Wall Street Journal, and I'm going to show what actually happened. By now, hopefully, you've maybe seen Adam's tweet, you've seen the AMC press release. You don't really need me to share this with you. You can go find it for yourself, but I just wanted to kind of cover and contrast a couple things. So before I do, if you don't know, in fact, some of us had even talked about this quite a ways back last year and even beyond. AMC had invested money in Saudi Arabia to kind of build up a business, and that business was always in partnership with another local business, which you can see in the press release that I'm going to kind of quote here, and I'll screenshot that, I'll show it to you. Um, so AMC was basically building up theaters in Saudi Arabia. There was kind of some IMAX theaters as well. And let's just talk through what happened. But before we do, so you can see the framing. So Wall Street Journal saying, "Oh my gosh, AMC leaves Saudi Arabia. They fell behind competitors. They weren't able to, what a dumb American company who tried to come into Saudi and, couldn't keep up with the locals." Okay, well that's an interesting take. That's not covering any of the real details of what happened here, and we're going to cover that in just a minute. And here's more of the article, um, you know, talking about leaving, and does not mention any of the actual financial pieces of the transaction. So why don't we talk about what was real, what actually happened? So a couple things. First off, the article kind of buries. This is the AMC Investor Relations press release. You can just go to the website and find that. You can see what I've kind of highlighted here. They're transitioning into a pure licensing relationship. Go look at Adam's tweet as well. He highlights it pretty quickly in a character limited tweet that AMC effectively had invested, let's say, $30 million. I'm not positive if that was the initial investment or if that includes some profit, but they just received $30 million of cash back, which was, I'll call that their seed money. And then now are just going to, I'm saying here, still getting them checks. Like, if you don't understand licensing business, but most of you probably do, you give someone the right to use your name, and for the right to use your name and sort of all your branding and even your product, kind of like think about almost like a franchise, they are sending you checks. So while Adam is asleep at night, AMC is basically getting checks from this company in Saudi Arabia called Seven. By the way, you can kind of look that up. And so here's the key. Imagine two different stories being told. In fact, why don't I tell you a different story? So AMC, and an expert in theater distribution models, goes out and says, I will partner with a local group, a local investment group who understands the laws, the culture, and how to be successful here. But what I can bring you is our expertise in movies, in operating a theater chain, in partnering with IMAX. So that sounds actually like a pretty humble and frankly wise approach to me. That doesn't sound like, let's go back to Wall Street Journal, can't deal with local competitors. Well, first of all, they weren't even implementing their own business to begin with. This was always a partnership with a local business. So they invest and they coach the local team. So you can see that in the press release or kind of in Adam's tweets. And then all these theaters open up. Go look through news articles. You can just find a bunch of news articles, kind of Google IMAX Saudi Arabia. There were announcements in recent months, not that long ago, about expansion in the number of doors basically that they'd have for IMAX in Saudi Arabia. So they're expanding. That does not mean that something going badly, right? Uh, and that expansion is just due to success. So all these theaters are built, they're opened, it's successful, they start opening more. AMC gets its seed capital back. So if you don't know, like seed capital is, you invest up front and then you expect your money back. But now you're not only getting your money back, you're getting future revenues. So I've said that in other videos as well, why AMC's business is better now than pre-COVID. They didn't have checks coming in from Saudi Arabia for use of their name pre-COVID. Now they're just sitting here, thank you very much, um, for using our name, appreciate the license check. So just one of the most recent examples on how the media will paint a really dark picture. They're just saying, oh my gosh, AMC had to run out of Saudi Arabia with their tail between their legs. Well, what actually happened is they got their $30 million back, and now they get checks ongoing from a new business that they created in partnership with a local team who's so successful they're expanding. That's two different stories, isn't it? So always dig, always find out what the real story is. And then I'd just love to invite everyone to just question, if financial news media is spinning things this badly, what is political media doing to you? What is cultural media doing to you? And there's a reason then that I often question the news I'm being fed, and dig a little deeper and find out the real story for myself. I guess here, bottom line, I am so happy with Adam's leadership in this case. This is a specific case where he invested money, received it back with interest, and now AMC has this revenue stream that he's created from nothing. That is why in other videos I've said I want him to have access to capital. If he's going to use that capital wisely and create new revenue streams that didn't even exist just a couple years ago, I'm pretty pleased with that as an investor. So let's go.